Hey everyone, I hope you guys are all doing good. I wanted to sit down today and just do a chit chat about our homeschool year so far. I wanted to go over some things that I have learned, some ways that I've had to pivot, what has worked really well for us. I have kind of embraced a few other things with my kids to make our days go smoother than they had been. And I'm really excited to share that with you guys. Today's video is in partnership with The Good and the Beautiful. I am going to be sharing with you guys a new series that they just came out with that my children are loving. So I'm always thankful to be able to work alongside of them on content for you guys. So this year has been the first year where I have 4 kids that are in full-time homeschool. Last year my youngest, last year my second youngest, Ingrid, was 5 years old when we did school, and we did a very gentle approach with her. As my kids have gotten older and I've had other children that have started school, I have really embraced child-led learning and play learning with my children. I have way more peace and way more confidence about my younger children picking up on their letters and learning, and I have way less of a pressure to have them reading by the time they're 5, or some of those things that I feel like first-time homeschool moms, we can feel that pressure. Maybe you didn't, but I definitely did for my oldest. And so she is doing the kindergarten prep from The Good and the Beautiful this year, and she really loves it. This year she has been adamant about doing her school every day. She likes doing 2 to 3 math lessons a day. She wants to be like all of her other siblings. If we do less with her, she will let us know, Mom, you did more school with Jude than you did with me, and I would like to do another lesson. It's been fun to see her change and to see her really embrace her school and her learning, and that has been really, really fun. Along with that, I have had to really try to figure out what to do with Abe during school. Last year I really implemented sibling time with my younger kids. I would have an older child sit down and read with them or play with them while I was doing a lesson with another one, and it just kind of turned into this well-oiled machine. Everybody had a place to be, and it just kind of worked. And now that Ingrid is in school full-time and my kids are doing a little bit more school than they were last year, it's just kind of changed the dynamic, and I've had to pivot a little bit and change things up. So I still do the sibling time with my kids, but it's way less planned down to the minute, and it is much more, hey, did you finish your independent work? Cool, so you have a few minutes. Can you please sit down with Abe and play Mr. Potato Head for the next 10 minutes while I finish this with Jude? It's way more relaxed, and I think that it's like that because my kids are used to the consistency and they're used to the routine now. Ezra, my 10-year-old, he is amazing at this. He's always like, I can take Abe outside. Ezra would love to go outside in the middle of our school day, burn off some steam and get some fresh air. So I utilize that, and he goes and takes Abe outside. They go jump on the trampoline, they go on the swing, they play. And I've really learned to embrace homeschooling in that sense, learn to embrace the benefits of homeschooling, that my kids can go outside, that they can spend one-on-one time with their siblings. And it has made our day run a lot more smoothly. Another thing that has helped our day run smoother is that I've embraced learning apps. I have really embraced learning apps. Reading Eggs, ABC Mouse, Osmo. I have embraced all of them and utilized them when I need to. This was something that in my mind, I somehow was less of a homeschool mom if I used screens at all to occupy my younger kids. And I don't know why I thought that. Anytime I'd have to use a screen or I'd pull something out, I would have this like tinge of guilt, you know what I'm saying? But this year I'm like, you know what? They're singing ABCs. He is learning his numbers. He is sitting down and, you know, counting things. I don't care. Here, I need help for 20 minutes, and that's what I'm gonna utilize, you know? So learning apps have been kind of a saving grace for me, and it's been a tool that I have had in my tool belt this year. So Fiona's schoolwork has been much more independent than it ever has been in the past, and that has been really nice. I'm not gonna lie. I have been so used to having to do individual lessons with each of my children individually, and it is a lot of work, and you have to stretch yourself so thin to do all these individual lessons. I totally understand why families love group learning. And we do utilize group learning for subjects like history and science, but for even math and English, between 4 different children, that's 8 lessons that I'm teaching alone by myself, and then also having to monitor all the other kids and what they're doing and make sure everything else gets done. So that being said, her English has been much more independent this year, and that has been really cool. But with that has also been a learning curve for me and her as well, because I've really had to make sure that I am staying on top of all of the spelling words that she has to practice daily, and there's just things that you still have to do with them, at least for her age range, so I got lax on, you guys. I got lax on because she was doing her own thing, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll do that tomorrow. We'll do that tomorrow. You finished your English, and in my brain, it just felt so nice because I knew her English was done, and then we could just, but there's still parent-led stuff that I need to sit down with her every day and do. So that was a learning curve for me. So for the last, I would say month and a half, I've had to really be intentional about scheduling in, okay, I have to go over your work with you, but before we go over the work that you've completed, we need to do your challenging spelling words, your challenging sentences. And so it's just trying to figure out how to schedule those things, what each curriculum needs, and it's all a balancing act. It really is, you guys. As far as morning basket goes or morning time, we haven't done it, you guys. Well, I shouldn't say we haven't done it, but I have not done the traditional idea of morning basket, where we have poetry and art and all of these different things every single day. It kind of just went to the wayside because I was really trying to focus on at least getting a rhythm to the schoolwork that had to get done. And then once we established that, then I wanted to introduce all of the extracurricular stuff. So aside from history and science, we haven't done really anything extra. But I also reminded myself too that we use the Good and the Beautiful's English, which means that my kids are learning geography. They're learning poetry. They are learning different ways of writing and different writing styles. And they're practicing creative writing. And so I might not be doing a geography curriculum, but I really don't need to at the age that they're at because they're learning about different places within their English curriculum. And that is one reason why I love the Good and the Beautiful's language arts. Speaking of the Good and the Beautiful and their language arts, this is a great segue to share with you guys the brand new series set, Badger Hills Farm. If you have had a level 3 child in their language arts curriculum, then you will remember Timothy and the 10th Floor, which was a beautiful story. Ezra and I read it together this last year, and it was such a good story. It had such a good message in it, and there were moments where I teared up, much to my 10-year-old son's dismay. It left you wondering, it left you wanting to know what was gonna happen next, and it was just a great story. And so if your children like that mystery, adventure, whodunit kids books, if they like those kinds of books, then they will love Badger Hills Farm. And one thing I will say about this series set versus maybe another series of, adventure, kids on adventures and those kind of books, this you can rest assured that you know what's inside of it and that it's going to be good and beautiful for your kids. Ezra is currently reading the very first one out of this set, and he is really excited. We are both very invested in Timothy and the 10th Floor. And so knowing that they got Badger Hills Farm and they are going to be going on a bunch of new adventures makes this really exciting. So going back to touching on our history and science and all of the extra curriculum besides just math and English, we have done history and science this year on a rotation. Now, Megan from Pennies and Salt had this idea, and at first I thought, how are they going to retain it? But after hearing her talk about her experience with it, I figured I'd give it a go, and I have to say that I have really enjoyed it. So what Megan started doing was rotating her history and science on a weekly basis. So 1 week she'd do history, 1 week she'd do science, and vice versa. And I started doing that as well and noticed that my kids were retaining actually more, and I was concerned if they would retain it because they would be taking a week off, but it really has helped immensely. I've really seen the benefit on getting to really dig deep into a specific topic on a daily basis. I also feel like I have a little bit more freedom to look up a video and watch a video on something versus, you know, when you're doing it every other day, you're kind of setting it down, then picking it back up, then setting it down, then picking it back up. So we have been really enjoying rotating those out. As far as science goes, we have done the Motion and Simple Machines from The Good and the Beautiful, and that has been a really fun unit. So if you're looking for something hands-on, my kids really enjoyed that one. One thing we started back up doing again this year is co-op, and so that has been really fun. We go every week, and it rotates between a lesson and like a social day. So that has been really fun. We have the freedom to not come to the social day if we don't want to, maybe if we have another thing going on that week or we've got to catch up with some schoolwork. So that has been fun to kind of have the freedom to pick and choose. And then we have our lessons that are in those in-between weeks. So that's been really fun. It's been cool to see, especially my boys, foster friendships with some other kids that homeschool in our area, and for me, getting to know some of the moms as well better. That has been really fun this year. My takeaway from this first portion of our school year has been that our school is going to look different than someone else's. My kids' homeschooling experience is going to look different. I don't have to do all the things that all of the moms on YouTube or Instagram or wherever do with their kids. It's okay. And that's been something I've embraced. I am usually a couch homeschooler when it comes to doing independent lessons with my kids. I love sitting on the couch with a hot cup of coffee and working on my kids' individual lessons with them. And that has just been something that I really enjoy. I enjoy the slower pace learning and trying to really enjoy the benefits that we get from homeschooling versus trying to continue to make our school experience what other people's is, or maybe even what the public school or private school looks like as well. And so that has been really freeing for me, and it's made me thankful again and again to homeschool my kids. John works from home, and so he is downstairs. He'll pop up once in a while and see what we're doing, and having the support and the backup of my husband when I need him is always a blessing. But it's been neat to see him be able to watch as our family has evolved and as our school setting has evolved and changed and has really morphed into what we need, and it meets the needs and the desires of the people in our family. There has been rough days, guys, don't get me wrong. We have had preteen angst and hormones and sibling rivalry, and mom didn't get much sleep or having an autoimmune flare, and you know, patience is tested, and we're not perfect. But just like I tell other people when they tell me I could never homeschool because I'm not patient, I tell them that that's why I homeschool, because God gives me opportunities to continue to work on my patience with my kids, and it's not in my own strength, it is in His. He is forgiving, He is loving, and such a great example of what we can be to our families and to our children and to ourselves too, right guys? Once again, a link to The Good and the Beautiful will be down below so you guys can go check out that brand new series from them. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope that your holiday was wonderful, and that as you go into this new year, you go into it with excitement and hope. Hope you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love